Good morning and welcome to the show. Anybody who's ever moved knows what a pain in the neck it is to move from one place to another. I had a recent move within the last year or so, and I went with two men in a truck, on recommendation. Well, I got to tell you, they did a fabulous job, and I have Becky Martinez from Two Men in a Truck here in the studio today. And Becky, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Two men in a truck. I was looking for two guys here in the studio, and they sent one gal instead of two now.
I know, we tricked you.
I know you did.
I just wandered in here.
So you don't do the actual moving yourself. You're more of a coordinator, I suppose?
I don't, thankfully. Those guys work their buns off. I just get to sit in a big comfy chair and
well, I got to tell you,
jobs.
they worked like crazy when they moved us, and I never saw anybody move so fast. It was really remarkable, and I think it's a great concept that you guys have.
Yeah, what Two Men in a Truck is all about is focusing on one customer at a time. We're actually international. We're an international company,
really?
But what I get all the time is people are surprised that we're all over the place because they thought that we were just a homespun company. We're from Panama City. Mm-hmm. The people who work there are from Panama City, so we focus on our customers. It's all about who we're moving that day. It's not about how many people we can cram on a truck and
Yeah, as a retired military guy, I've done a few moves. And usually, you hire some big name company, they come in, they tag all your stuff, and they put it on a giant truck with a couple other moves, and it probably goes to a warehouse somewhere, and then they send their stuff to your house and all that, and it's kind of a big production. With Two Men in a Truck, those guys are there for you that day.
Yes, exactly.
And that's it, right?
Yeah, we get a lot of surprised faces when they're like, oh, you can do this all in one day? I thought it was going to take like 2 weeks or at least a couple days. And they're like, no, it's going to take a couple hours because those guys are for you. They're there for you. They're going to take care of you.
How did this whole concept start?
It actually started in the 80s in Michigan.
A place I was stationed once.
Well, this lady and her two sons actually started the business out of their backyard, basically, and it just grew and grew and grew because the concept of taking care of the customer and our motto is the movers who care.
Yeah.
And so, how can that not grow?
Yeah, and you see that truck, and it really looks like a little local company, but who knew it grew into such a big thing? I guess they're franchises or something now?
Yep, we're all locally owned, but they are franchises, and we are international. We have some places in Ireland and England and all over the place.
Yeah, we've got to run off to the local weather right now, but on the other side of that, I want to talk more about this whole concept of Two Men in a Truck, how this thing is growing. I want to talk about your employees, too, the people that you have working there, because I was so impressed when they moved to us. Those guys really worked.
Yeah, they deserve some limelight.
Yeah, I think they should. We'll be right back after your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm, westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Becky Martinez from Two Men in a Truck, people who recently moved me, and I'm a satisfied customer. The guys that you have working there, I never saw human beings move so fast with so much weight. And is there a special training program that you put these guys through? Because you pay them by the hour.
Well, secretly, they're all superheroes.
Yes, they are. Superheroes. But no capes, though. I didn't see any capes.
Well, that slows you down.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. No, yeah, we do. We train them at our office. We have our move manager, Mike. He takes care of all these guys. The guys who have been there the longest get to train the newbies, and it also allows them to develop like a rapport, and they become a family. And
so these aren't like day laborers or anything.
No.
These are employees of Two Men in a Truck who take pride in their work.
Exactly. They're all background checked. They, and they work for us. So if they don't do a good job, they don't stay. And that's what a lot of people think, that we're hiring day laborers and they're worried that they're just going to take their time since it's by an hourly rate.
Yeah.
But the guys there really work hard. Because you've experienced it.
I kind of half expected that because you're paying by the hour. And I was like, okay, here we go. I'm going to have to be cracking a whip on these guys. They were literally running, with the furniture. They were that fast. It was just amazing to watch them, especially unloading. Loading up, they took their time. They did it all right. Everything was, properly secured. And then when we got to the new house, boom, they were done before you knew it.
People are always surprised that they actually care. They do. The guys actually care. They really don't want to disappoint their customers because they actually have to see your face. So
yeah, they do.
They really don't want to disappoint you. But beyond just not wanting to have to deal with your wrath, they actually do care about you, and they want to take care of your stuff too.
It's a stressful time moving. I mean, it really is stressful. And I thought about, my wife was like, oh, why don't you get some friends together and you can move us? And I am not touching that piano. There's no way.
And then you end up losing friends that way too.
Exactly. That is social suicide. Hey, you want to help me move? Can I borrow your truck? I called 2 men in a truck. They came out. They did the walkthrough. They said, okay, this will take us give me a reasonable estimate. And we were off to the races after that. It was just amazing how quickly they worked. Then the piano, where do you want it, sir? You want us to put it here? My wife was like, could you put it up? No, wait a minute.
And I guarantee you they had a smile on their face the whole time.
They were so patient and they were so good. They were pretty much at our disposal for the day.
And that's what we want our customers to feel like, because we are at your disposal. Whatever you need, we're there for you. Moving is such a stressful time that we want to take the load off.
How do we get in touch with you and where are you located?
You can reach us at 850-785-2222. We're located on West 15th Street in between Frankfurt and Beck Avenue. You're always welcome to stop by.
So if you're moving, we can check you out on the internet as well, and you guys will come out and give us a free estimate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Becky Martinez from 2 Men in a Truck, thanks so much for coming on the show, and thanks for helping my move go so smoothly.
Not a problem, anytime.
And we'll be right back after your Max Biz tip from Zenobia.
Hi, good morning. Welcome back to Waking Up with Don. I'm Zenobia Andrews, your business system strategist, and I'm excited to be bringing you your max out tip for today. We're going to be talking about what is your marketing strategy. We've already established that you want to be an entrepreneur, that you want to start your dream business, and today we're going to say, what is your marketing strategy? What you need to consider is, who's your client? Where do they live? What problem are you solving for them, right? Before you can even establish a marketing strategy. Some of the other questions that you should be asking yourself is, how am I going to market to them? Is it going to be through social media? Is it going to be through an advertising agency? Is it going to be through my website? What are some of those answers to those questions? I really want you to ponder those things. There's so many different routes that you can go into marketing your business to your customers, but you've got to know who that customer is, what they like, what they don't like, and then you've got to know, and this is good, who your competitors are. But you know what? I'm here to share with you today that there really are no competitors. This day and time, getting in the game is all about partnering with your competitors, doing joint venture partnerships, doing affiliate programs. What are they doing that you can partner with? I'm talking about your competitors. What are your competitors doing that you can partner with your services and their services, and you can combine together your two companies and do this amazing event or this amazing program. All right? I'm so excited to have shared with you your marketing strategy, your marketing max out tip for today. I'm Zenobia Andrews, your business system strategist. Listen, connect with me and I will connect with you. You can find me at www.zenoviaandrews.com. Facebook, Twitter, Zenobia Andrews, Max Out with Zenobia. Take care and let's continue waking up with Don.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with David Powell from Innovations Credit Union, and he's going to tell us what's going on out there at Innovations. Yeah. David, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
What is going on at Innovations?
Well, this week...
It's busy, right? It's a busy time.
It is a very busy time. And I'll tell you, this week we're running a special on automobile loans. And we actually have automobile loans at Innovations as low as 1.29%.
Wow.
I know that sounds crazy, but we're doing it. We got some money that we need to lend, and car lending is one of our specialties, as is most credit unions. So 1.29% is the deal, and you can stop by any of our branches, 6 locations in Bay County, and talk to a loan officer about those programs. You could go online, innovationsfcu.org.
Federal Credit Union.
So innovationsfcu.org, or you could call us at 233-4400. Just ask to speak to a loan officer and they'll hook you up. But we got some great deals on some car loans, and so you just go pick out the one you want. And even if your credit score isn't quite perfect, we have programs available for folks that have maybe had some difficulty. We've gone through some terrible economic times. Folks have lost their jobs. Folks have lost some real estate that they own. Folks maybe even have had a car repossessed because of some other condition
But
or
you could
or
pretty
problem.
much work with anyone then.
We
right?
can work with almost anybody. I mean, I'm not going to guarantee we'll make everybody along,
yeah.
but we do, because we're local. All the decisions are made here in Bay County. All of our leadership's here in Bay County. There's no outside influence. We don't have to ship anything off anywhere else. You go down to the local innovations branch, you meet with the loan officer or the branch manager, and if you got some kind of a blip on your credit report, in most cases, we can work something out. So, pick out the car you want. Hopefully, if you got a little down payment, that's helpful. And go down there and
if
see
you have a
them.
job, if you're gainfully employed.
You got to be gainfully employed and be able to prove that you have some income from that job. And we'll work with people, and that's kind of what credit unions are there for.
David,
we try to think outside the box and help
Yeah,
people.
well, that's what it is. You're a member. You're
Yeah.
not a customer, so
Yeah,
you
it's a little bit
actually
different.
have skin in the game here. I wanted to ask you: is there like a car buying season where you're more busy, like a springtime that people usually trade up?
Springtime, I'm finding is pretty good car buying season. A lot of folks have filed their tax return.
Yeah,
Get that
yeah.
money back on their tax return, and that money that you get back on their tax return makes an awful lot of sense to now go, let's put that money down as a down payment on an automobile. So you see, in fact, a lot of the car lots will have bring your tax return down here, we'll do your tax return.
Oh, yeah.
And you see it on their
I've
marquees
seen
and
that,
their stuff about come down here and do that. Well, we hope you come see us instead. You file your tax return and then let us help you with maybe a better rate, some better terms. And
it gives you
we'll do
more
that.
buying power too. When you walk onto a car lot or you go shopping online and you're already pre-approved for
Yeah.
X amount of dollars for a new or a used car,
Sure.
it gives you a lot more negotiating power because you got money in your hand.
Oh, yeah. When you can tell that car lot guy or the dealer, hey, I want that one, and I'll be back in 30 minutes. That does have some power to it.
Yeah, just let me run down Innovations, get a check for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can
Yeah.
really negotiate a much better price.
Now, another
then it's
thing-
like, oh, do I qualify? Can you help me with financing? You don't want to walk in like that.
Yeah.
You want to walk in
Another-
from a position of power. Right?
Another thing that's happening right now, we're seeing a huge influx of people opening checking accounts. So I think that with some of the larger banks doing some consolidation, some of them closing some branches, some movement in the large banks, folks are showing up at the Innovations location saying, hey, my bank's either going away, my bank's having some changes, I don't like some of the new things going on. And by the way, I saw on your website you have free checking, or I saw my friend said you had free checking, and Don at Innovations, checking accounts are free for everybody.
Oh, geez. Wow.
So no monthly service charges, no minimum balance requirements, no per check fees, no transaction fees, all those crafty names that the big banks come up with to do their
And that's
fees.
just the advantage of a credit union. So if you're a small town guy like I am, it just makes a lot of sense.
Small town, we got them. So we'll be glad to answer those questions. And in terms of business accounts and lending, folks call me all the time. I spend a lot of my time in my truck going out to meet with small business owners about here's how we can help you set up accounts or
And
do
that's
some
what people
business.
miss about, small town banking. David Powell from Innovations Credit Union, thanks so much for coming back on the show and
You're
telling us
welcome.
what's going on at Innovations. And we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. You know him from Talk Radio 101's Bernie Thompson Show. You may also know him from the Whiskey Rebellion here on Fox 28. I know him as my pal Bernie, and we talk about movies a lot. And Bernie, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, it's so good to get you out of that whole political atmosphere
yeah.
every now and then, and just talk about stuff that really matters,
Well,
like movies.
Well, coming here in the morning and relaxing with you makes my shows a bore. When I get over there in a little bit, I tell you what, this is a wonderful place. Yeah, classic movies, that's my hobby. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, and you know what? And this place is all about having fun, and movies are nothing but pure fun.
I love it. And I discovered them. I never really watched movies until about 1998, maybe 2000. I noticed in the newspaper there was a top 100 American movies of all time list. So I went out and rented every one of them, VHS, from one of those video rental stores. And I found out that I had two favorite directors just by watching them. I found out that I loved Billy Wilder, who did some movies that we'll talk about later. And
Some Like It Hot?
Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, Some Like It Hot.
I'm a Hitchcock, total
Oh.
fan of Hitchcock. I love any Hitchcock movie I will watch.
Are they fantastic
again
or what?
and again?
Yeah.
If it's on TV, I will stop.
My girls are 10 and 11, and they have fallen in love with Alfred Hitchcock movies. You know what movie they want to see so bad? Psycho.
Oh,
and at
boy.
10 and 11, I'm still not letting them watch Psycho, which makes
Give
them
them a
want to
little
watch it
time
more.
for that. Yeah.
If you've seen that movie to this day, do you not sometimes peek around the shower curtain?
My sister would not take a shower for years after seeing Psycho.
I don't know. I'm probably
Yeah.
being a little too protective. But,
Yeah.
but I love Hitchcock, and I love
Have they
what he
seen The
does.
Birds yet? Have the girls
No,
seen
that
The
one
Birds?
I'll let them see. They have seen.
That's a little scary, but
Yeah.
you know, that's
They've seen a few of them,
Mm-hmm.
and they absolutely love Hitchcock. And you know what they love too is in every Hitchcock movie he makes a cameo. Usually in the beginning of the movie,
That's
you look
half
for
the
him.
fun of it.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
And he has these wonderful little cinematic techniques that he uses. He has something that he calls a MacGuffin. A MacGuffin is a device that propels the movie forward. It could be spy papers that are misplaced in somebody else's briefcase, but there's always a little device, and the movies revolve around that little device. He calls it the MacGuffin. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. You know, my favorite movie of all time is North by Northwest. I don't know why I love that movie so much. I just do. And I've watched it
it's one of my
100
favorites.
times, and each time I see something different in
It's
that
one of my
movie.
10 favorite movies. And that's the other thing that he does, is he'll put somebody in a position, in that case Cary Grant, where not only the bad guy's out to get him, but the cops are out to get him. See, if the bad guys are out to get you, you just go to the police. But if you can't go to the police and you can't go to the bad guys, now you're in a Hitchcock movie.
Bernie, we got to run off to a break here. But on the other side of that, maybe you can share some more movies, the must-see Bernie Thompson movie
Would
list.
love to.
All right, we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with my friend Bernie Thompson. We're talking about old movies, aren't we?
Yep,
And,
one of my favorite topics.
Movies have changed. I mean, we were talking about Hitchcock and suspense, and you know, you had to actually think. And now movies are a little more explicit, probably a lot more explicit. Not much left to the imagination.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
kind of
true.
gross, a lot more gross.
I remember when I first started watching old movies around 2000, and I'm sitting there waiting for the explosions, waiting for the sexy scenes, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
is anything going to blow up? I couldn't get into it the first few times, but then I caught on to the nuance and the beauty of these things. One person told me it's almost like the difference between reading a book and watching a movie. If you look for it,
You
it's
look at the
beautiful.
old movies, like now we talked about
Gorgeous.
Hitchcock a little bit, and my favorite movie of all time is North by Northwest with
I
Cary
love it.
Grant.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many things in that movie that you can go on to. And me being a fan of the movie, every time it's on TV, I absolutely, positively have to stop and watch it.
It's great.
And if you look at that movie really closely, you can see there's an outtake in there. There's a blooper in North by Northwest. The scene where there's a shooting in the cafeteria at Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
There's a little boy in the background holding his ears, anticipating the blank shot. You know? And Hitchcock left that in there.
He does cool
Yeah.
stuff like that, doesn't he?
And you have to watch it to see it. And he always does a cameo.
He
ever seen
does.
him
My
pop up somewhere?
daughters are 10 and 11, and they absolutely love Hitchcock. Here's the one that Daddy's not going to let them watch just quite yet.
Oh, geez.
You know, talk about leaving things to the imagination. That's what made him so great. The master of what? I've been telling them since they were 6 and 5, the master of suspense. I would go to their school, Don, at the cafeteria, because I taught them what suspense was. Daddy will hide in a bedroom, and the girls will walk in and try to find me. And I said, ladies, that feeling you have right now
That's
is
suspense.
Or I'll put little Emma on my lap, and I'll breathe on her neck, and she knows I'm going to get her. And that's suspense.
And you get a real thrill. And Psycho, believe it or not, the original slasher movie, you really don't see anybody getting stabbed in the movie.
No,
you
it's-
don't see that explicit, violence in there. It's all implied.
It's
and
what
he does
you
it
don't
in such
see.
a clever way.
It's what you don't see that can scare you the most. That's what made Jaws so scary, right?
That's true. That's
what
true.
you don't see
How many
that
people
scares
were
you the
afraid to go swimming in the ocean after Jaws? Good grief. So what are some of your favorites, Bernie?
These Hitchcock, Rear Window, Vertigo. My daughters love Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
And how wonderful is it to bring up little girls watching Jimmy Stewart?
Yeah, he was so
Rear
all-American.
Window, and he's in a few of his.
Rear
like, here he is
Window with
again.
Grace Kelly, too, who went on to be the Princess of Monaco, by the way.
Right. Didn't she
And,
die in a car accident?
She
Young,
did,
I think.
Tragically. But, that whole storyline, talk about suspense. He's laid up with a broken leg. He's a photographer, and he's watching out the rear window of his apartment building in Manhattan before there was air conditioning.
Right.
So also you hear all the sights and sounds of his neighbors, and he's watching one neighbor dispose of his murdered wife.
Yeah, you're watching.
Yeah.
Basically, we're watching a watcher. We're watching a voyeur whose mind is getting carried away, and he turns out to be right. It's wonderful.
Amazing stories.
My other favorite director, his name is Billy Wilder, and he did movies like Some Like It Hot.
Oh, geez, how can we forget that one?
With, of course, Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis, and my favorite, Jack Lemmon. I love Jack Lemmon.
Was hysterical. And those guys kind of, they were in drag in that movie in disguise, and it's really hysterical.
In the top 100 movies.
It was black and white too, wasn't it?
It was. They shot it in black and white in I think that was in 1959. But what's really interesting about Billy Wilder is he wrote and directed 4 of the top 100 movies, and so did he. And Billy Wilder just had a great sense of humor.
All right, let's
he did
check out
a
another
variety.
favorite
I mean, he did romantic comedies. He did sort of gothic movies. That was rated number 12 of all time. Sunset Boulevard.
And if you've seen this is about a washed-up movie star from the silent era who lives in this dilapidated old mansion with an old butler, and some guy breaks down and looks for help.
And she wanted to make not a comeback, a return to the big screen. And that's where the famous line, "I'm ready for my close-up."
It's the movies that got small, not me.
Yeah, the pictures that got small.
You used to be big, didn't you?
I'm still big.
The movies
Classic
got small.
movies, thanks. I love it.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, Bernie. And I always enjoy talking about old movies. And next time we need to talk about some books.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.